and we are in the alley behind Bottom Lounge. But before we begin, that's Kevin Singleton in the back seat with a really sweet acoustic guitar. He's going to play a couple songs right here on Facebook Live and for this podcast. This podcast, Car Con Carne, the world's only food podcast recorded in a car, is lovingly brought to us by Boost Mobile. I just paid my monthly Boost Mobile bill for myself, my son, my daughter. It's shocking how little I pay for Boost Mobile. Unlimited everything. The best deals I've seen on phones. I've priced them across the board. The best deals, boostmobile.com, and you know, they're everywhere. You can just walk in and say, hello, Boost Mobile employee. Set me up with one of those deals I heard about on Car Con Carne.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
All right, Kevin Singleton. He is in the Cold Mourning. He is the Cold Mourning. You know him from the band El Famous. I remember the band Inept. And here we are in the back of Bottom Lounge, which you book. Yeah. Among other things. You kind of do everything. I walked through the venue with you, and you kind of have your hands in everything at Bottom Lounge.
Yeah.
Everyone's grabbing you. I'm impressed I was able to steal you for a little bit and get you into the car. You're going to play a couple songs right here on camera and for the podcast. And then we're going to record the rest of the podcast with food from Bottom Lounge, because something I think people don't realize as they're figuring out what shows to go to, Bottom Lounge has a kick-ass food menu.
Thank you.
Like, I mean, you've got poutine, you've got a great black bean burger, you've got that buffalo chicken sandwich, you've got a pot roast sandwich coming.
Yes.
Which sounds amazing. I was advised, who is the woman at the front who told us about the menu?
Natalie. She is she handles our weddings and our private events. All
right, so Natalie suggested the pulled pork. And normally, I'm scared of pulled pork at restaurants. I assume it's done in like a slow cooker or something. Or it's just, but she said, yeah, it's smoked in-house, which blew my mind. So I've got pulled pork and tater tots on the way. So
can't go wrong with tater tots.
I don't want you to hurry, but I am excited for what happens after you're done performing. All right, so you're going to do two songs right here on Facebook Live and here for the podcast, which will be available next week on carconcarne.com. What are you going to start out with? This is a Cold Mourning song.
I'm not going to do any of, I just released a music video for a song, but I'm not going to do any of those because those are already accessible for people. Let's do something different. Let's do a track that I don't get to play too often. It's called Hopeless.
Hopeless, okay.
Yeah, it's my personal favorite, so that's why I want to play it.
All right, so the great way to expose it right here. I do want to say hi to Pat, who's watching.
Hi, Pat.
Daniel, hi, Andrew is watching.
Hi.
A lot of people from the music community are checking this out, which is totally cool. I'm going to aim the camera your way.
Awesome.
And we are live. Justin Neese is watching. He also a musician. All right, it is Kevin Singleton in the back seat. I'm going to turn my mic down. I'm going to let you bring the rock.
Hey, Justin, real fast. Cavs in 7. All right, that's all I got.
You guys have a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Have at it.
We good?
We're good.
No, I don't need it. No, I don't need no sympathy from the weak. I'm just defeated. A ghost inside the shell, so to speak, the kind that likes to burn. No, I don't want it. No, I don't want your goddamn charity, 'cause I don't need it. And I just want you all to leave me be. Hopeless now to see the world of broken dreams, the self-absorbed beliefs. Yeah, they don't mean a thing. And it's hopeless now to see the world of broken dreams, and self-absorbed. self-absorbed beliefs. Yeah, they don't mean a thing. It's hopeless now to say the world of broken dreams and their self-absorbed beliefs. Yeah, they don't mean a thing. Yeah, they don't mean a thing.
Yeah, you gave it all on that one.
Thank you.
Kevin Singleton in the back seat, and I realized I forgot
Illuminate.
to illuminate you. Oh, look at that! There you go. Now you're ready to rock. That was awesome. That was Hopeless. That is a Cold Mourning song, as played in the back seat. Is there a band standing right by the car? We're backstage, right outside the backstage door of Bottom Lounge.
Yeah, probably.
It's what you've got, like 4 bands playing tonight as we're recording this.
It's Bad Wolves, From Ashes to New, Diamante, and a local band called Qualia.
I think we walked right past Diamante as we were
Yes.
walking out.
Yes, we did.
Very talented woman. Also a very fetching woman, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. All right. So that was one song down. Let's see. Santiago says,
Wani.
says, "Get it, Kev." Oh, there we go. And Justin is very glad that I turned on the back light. He wrote, "Now we can see that beautiful beard." What about my beard?
Yeah.
Look at that. Silver Foxy, right? Yeah. All right. So you did one song. What's next?
This is a brand new song. I just released it 2 weeks ago. Just on my Bandcamp page, which is just thecoldmourning.bandcamp.com. You can download the entire CD up there for free, 7 tracks, or you can. It's like if you want to pay for it, you can. But if not, it's just whatever. I'd rather have people have the music than put a price tag on it. So, the song's called Tombstone.
Tombstone.
It's very. I wrote it after visiting a hospice, and seeing some people and some families and stuff like that, and it was really interesting. It reminded me of I don't know, I just didn't really feel like writing a typical song about like a hospice or anything like that, and so I just imagined what it would be like to have like sickness or disease back in the old days with people, so I imagined the movie Tombstone and like Doc Holliday and all that stuff, and his tuberculosis and being sick, and I don't know.
So we're going from a song
Weird.
called Hopeless to a song called Tombstone.
Yeah.
This may be the darkest Car Con Carne episode ever. And we're recording in the dark alley behind
Yeah.
Bottom Lounge. There are
Sorry.
giant rat poison boxes everywhere you look because we're in Chicago. All right, this is great. And I should mention, if you're watching on Facebook Live, and maybe Kevin doesn't sound as crisp and clear as you think he should, it's because we're recording Facebook Live on my phone, but we're recording the actual podcast into a real 4-track recording device. So when this is out and available on carconcarney.com, you'll hear this properly mixed, and you'll hear Kevin in all of his glory.
No drinks outside. No drinks outside.
You are all
Sorry.
business. You are all business.
Sorry. What? Glenn's looking for me? All right. I'll be done in 3 minutes and 48 seconds.
Everything okay there?
Yeah.
All right. So one of the bands came out. They wanted to have a little cocktail hour here in the alley, but nope.
Can't do it. Sorry.
Good thing you were there.
I'm just,
You know what you were just then? You were Johnny Law.
Yeah, unfortunately, our liquor license is more important than a beer.
Oh,
outside,
absolutely.
so,
I believe me, I get it. All right, so here we go. It is a new song called Tombstone. Kevin Singleton, The Cold Mourning. It's Car Con Carne.
All right. Travel miles in the dead of the night, and I can tell you that I finally seen hell. I watched the family have to bury their young, and I can tell you that it doesn't sit well. The sun came down and the bodies were falling, 'cause the cold came and took them away. There was a child in my arms asking God, will he help me? And I couldn't even lie to his face. The sun came down and the bodies were falling, 'cause the cold came and took them away. There was a child in my arms asking God, will he help me? And I couldn't even lie to his face. All alone in the field of the damned, and I think still can't help all of them. My eyes are red and my bones are heavy, and I think my time has come. The sun came down and the bodies were falling, 'cause the cold came and took them away. There was a child in my arms asking God, will he help me? And I couldn't even lie to his face. The sun came down and the bodies were falling, 'cause the cold came and took them away. There was a child in my arms asking God, will he help me? And I couldn't even lie to his face. It helped me understand this pain. It helped me understand. The sun came down and the bodies were falling, 'cause the cold came and took them away. There was a child in my arms asking God, will he help me? And I couldn't even lie to his face. We will find a way. Oh, oh. Because the sun came down and the bodies were falling, 'cause the cold came and took them away. There was a child in my arms asking God, will he help me? And I couldn't even lie to his face.
Yeah, that was awesome, Kevin. That was totally great.
Thank you.
That is a song called Tombstone.
Yep.
The Cold Mourning, Mourning, is the band, and people can find you, as you mentioned earlier, on Bandcamp.
Yep.
Great stuff.
so
Powerful,
much.
stripped down. I mean, these are big rock songs, and very sparsely arranged.
Yeah. It was something I really wanted to do. I wanted to do something that was just acoustic, just me and the guitar, so I had a lot of fun with it. This has probably been the most different project for me, just because it's, me singing. The other band I play in, El Famous, I do a lot of yelling, and it's a lot
El
heavier.
Famous is in your face.
Yeah.
I mean, that, yeah.
And, in Inept, I played guitar, and I didn't sing at all. Like, I never did at all. I picked this up in January, wrote all the songs for it, and here we are. So
here's what we're going to do. We're going to we're going to stop the Facebook Live and continue recording the podcast for carconcarney.com. Some reasons, if you're watching on Facebook Live, reasons to listen to the full episode. Obviously, the music will sound amazing, but also we're going to talk about Kevin's career in music, the Chicago music scene in particular. I want to talk about Inept. I want to talk about El Famous, talk more about Cold Mourning. Mm-hmm. I also want to talk about your role at Bottom Lounge. I do have a lot of local musicians who watch and who listen every week.
Yeah.
And I think getting your perspective as someone who helps get gigs for bands,
yeah,
that advice,
yeah.
Just kind of whatever mentoring advice you can offer to bands to get maybe not just Bottom Lounge, but get gigs elsewhere as a musician, as a booker. I think that'll be really helpful, and we're going to cover all that as we eat amazing food from Bottom Lounge coming up. This live stream brought to you by Boost Mobile. Kevin, you're amazing. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so we're back in the car. Kevin has secured his guitar, and things are kind of quieting down at Bottom Lounge. And we walked through the kitchen. We walked out with these amazing to-go containers of food. Your pot roast sandwich looks ridiculous.
Yeah. It's cheese curds, like on the top of it.
That's what it is. Oh my God.
Yeah. Melted cheese curds.
Those look very Midwestern. That looks like a very delicious Midwestern sandwich. I've got the pulled pork, which I've been dying to try ever since I was told about it. Let the record show these fries are awesome. They're salty. They're cut. They're beautiful. I was waiting for you to jump back in the car, and I couldn't help but start to dig in on the French fries. Pulled pork, not the tidiest sandwich to eat in the car. It smells amazing. Again, smoked in-house. Eating on microphone is really part of the fun of doing this podcast, Kevin. All right, the pork is really good. The sauce, especially, is delicious. Did she say they make the sauce here too?
I have no idea if they do that. They might.
Damn, it's really good.
I'll have you know that I'm not really a barbecue sauce guy at all, so I don't really.
All right.
I've never really gotten to the pulled pork without barbecue sauce attached to it, and I've liked it. But they always get mad at me because I put like Cholula and everything. So.
Oh well, you can't go wrong with that.
No, I got to do it for everything. So.
But again, this menu, this is like the kind of menu I would create if I had a restaurant and I knew how to cook. Like they have a Cabano sandwich here, really just an attractive menu, served by attractive people, and attractive people work here, like Kevin. Let's go back to musically. Let's go back to when you started playing around in the city. What was your first band?
Well, I've been playing in bands since the 90s, which is so crazy to say. But my first band to actually like do something and kind of like establish itself, I was in a band called Inept from 2002 until the end of 2009. So
now this was the band that first made me aware of your music. I remember I was at a rock station called The Zone. I enjoyed playing you on my local show.
Oh yeah.
So tell me about Inept.
Inept was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where like, we started it up right out of high school. We didn't have a care in the world. We just really wanted to just play shows. But we were from Plainfield, the Plainfield Joliet area.
Yeah.
But we never told anybody that. We always told everybody we were from Chicago because, being 50 miles away or whatever that is sometimes it can be a little red flaggy for like promoters.
You were worried about it being stigmatized for being a South Suburban band.
Not even just that, but no promoters are going to look at us and think we're going to be able to pull people to Chicago because we're so far away.
Right.
So we told everybody we were from the city, and we would come up to the Metro, like 2-3 times a week.
Yep.
Pass out flyers at the end of every single show. That's how we got booked.
You had to do that hustle.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, especially, it was and Sean McDonough, the Metro talent buyer, took notice of us and our hard work and offered us a gig with the immortal Escape from Earth. So we played with those guys. We played with everybody back in the day. We just try to have fun. It was the scene was a lot different back then, but at the same time, it was. I don't know. I feel like it was a lot more. I feel like it's more competitive now. Like bands aren't as friendly with one another.
You think it's a little more fragmented, or
yeah, I see a lot of cliques. I see a lot of bands that only play with the same bands. And it's really weird. It's like the suburban bands only play with the suburban bands. Like you got like that, like the Joliet bands only play with Joliet. You got the North Suburbs only play with them. You got the specific like 10 metal bands that always play together in the city. Or like, with El Famous, I try really hard to. It's kind of difficult. El Famous doesn't play that many shows, and whenever we do, we want to play with our friends. So El Famous is definitely not the most innocent person when it comes to finding or most innocent band when it comes to finding new people, because we don't play that often. We want to share our shows with our friends and people that support us and people that we like love what they're doing. But it's never like a personal thing. Like I see certain bands that are like, oh, we don't want to play with those guys because I just don't get it. Like I've never wanted to exclude bands. Like here, I'll book anybody as long as you follow instructions and email me. Like I hate when bands message me on Facebook to get booked. It's like I have an email for a reason.
I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to talk about. We're going to bounce around, obviously. There's a certain preferred method. There's a certain way you approach things. I know with my own personal Facebook, and the thing about my Facebook, I made the mistake. I don't even know if it's a mistake, but years ago I just gave up on accepting friend requests from people I knew. I just accepted them from everyone. Like, this is how I'm going to build my network.
Yeah.
I think because of that, I have a lot of people trying to do business over Facebook Messenger, and it drives me crazy. Not that I don't like talking to people, but I can't organize, or I can't keep myself organized if I'm communicating on so many different platforms. When it comes to my local music show, use the submission form, my email address there. I can't. it's just too difficult. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about too.
Yeah, it's there's certain times where I'll be like, hey, I need bands for this show, email me. And then I get like 30 Facebook messages. It's like, come on, guys, like, I use Facebook to keep in touch with like actual like friends and family and stuff like that, or promote my music. I don't want to work. I don't want my job being on, as much as my job is on public display, I would like to keep everything consolidated to its proper departments.
I totally get it.
So that's something that, and I've kind of been like a jerk, not a jerk, but like a stickler for, if you don't email me and you just message me, I will delete it. And sometimes I feel bad, but then other times I'm like, if they can't read properly or they can't follow directions, then they probably don't take themselves too seriously. Or like if it literally says, don't message me about this, just email me, and you still just message me about it, then I'm sorry. I hate to sound like a jerk, but
I get it. This is still business.
Exactly.
It's the business of rock and roll, but it's still a business.
Yeah.
All right, so that's perhaps something that bands don't do right. Let's kind of flip that around. What are some really good things a band can do besides make good music to get?
I was just going to say that. That was it. Write a chorus.
But to get gigs, or just to kind of crack through. I think it's harder than ever. Even though bands have access to everything, I think it's harder than ever for a band to break through, just because everyone has the same level of access.
Exactly. I can explain to you, in my opinion, why I think the industry now, or the scene, or whatever you want to call it, is more beneficial, but at the same time it's very hard, because everybody with a Facebook page and access to some friend's demo basement in garage Pro Tools rig can create a demo, and there is an overabundance of bands that don't exactly put the time and effort in, but release music, and just they do it for fun. And don't get me wrong, like, music is subjective, and so is art, and I love that. But then you have bands who really, really polish their craft and take everything seriously that get overlooked because of the scene being so flooded. There's just so much going on. There are so many diamonds in the rough that I've missed out on that I just didn't know existed.
Absolutely.
That I find out about like years later, and I'm just like, what? Where have you guys? You guys have been a band for this long? Like, how have I never heard of you? And it's really a bummer for certain, like for me, because you always want to find that one, like, you always want to find that band that's going to be the next, from back in the day, like I said, Escape from Earth, or Medina Lake, or like some sort of, the next band. But it's very difficult with how many bands there are. It's like, it's hard for me to keep track. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm trying to fill a bill, and I get like almost anxiety over how many bands I have to sift through to find one. Like, sometimes it's really frustrating. But I will say that the things that always stand out to me are, and it's usually just aesthetic stuff, like how they, if I look at their page and they have like a cool logo, they have a cool cover photo, they have music, they have their music's on Spotify, YouTube, the proper channels, like, they have a good promo photo. If I can look at your band's aesthetic.
Yeah, if a band has a vision, like they understand who they are as a brand as well as a band.
And if I can look at that and not even just know that they're going to be awesome without even hearing their band, then it's good. And then when I listen to their band and it's like, whoa, these guys are amazing. Like, it just helps. But I also like it when I look at a band that has like the worst graphics ever, a terrible photo from someone's iPhone, and then I listen to their music and it's unbelievable. Like, it's like, I like both sides of that. Like, sometimes I like the underdog that comes out of nowhere and just sounds amazing.
They're so green they don't even know. Like, the
only thing they know is music, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes,
Yeah,
so.
and there's nowhere to go but forward.
Exactly.
If you have that as a base,
exactly.
Giddy up.
Yep, exactly. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a lot of bands in the heavier scene that are doing so many amazing things, that are working really hard. And I feel like that music scene is really, really, really come together recently. A lot of the bands that like El Famous plays with, and a lot of the other bands, I've noticed, like, even though El Famous isn't playing with them as much, like they're branching off, doing their own shows with one another and bringing in new bands, new blood, and I really like that. I like the scene that I like that scene that's been created. But then there's like a Joliet scene that I didn't even, now with the Forge coming up.
Oh yeah.
And that's really cool. Like I said, I used to live in Plainfield and stuff like that, so I like still going back and seeing those bands doing stuff,
Yeah, they're doing a nice job up there.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. They have a ton of local shows, a ton of amazing bands from the burbs like Dear Deadly and the dudes in The Silent Truth and Consume the Divide, like other metal stuff. But then you have like you have like the pop punk stuff. There's a new band out called McKenna. They just released a new single, and it's really good. I'm going to send you the link later.
I love getting the tips.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's so good. Their singer's unbelievable. Blew me away when I heard it.
Talking about the rock scene, or the strength of the rock scene, I wanted to talk about that specifically when you were coming up with Inept. It seemed like after a long time, rock began to thaw in the city. Rock was kind of ghettoed out of Chicago clubs like Metro in the 90s. I mean, it was not... Sure, there'd be token shows, and Disturbed eventually made it there.
Yeah.
But rock was not as... I hate to use the word welcome again, but it just didn't feel like it.
No, my first couple shows at Metro were like... was Alkaline Trio or Smoky Popes, and I went and saw a local band, Retro Mourning. I don't know if you ever remember them at all, but I went to those kind of shows, and I never really, I think the first hard rock metal show that I ever went to was a Crash Poet show, or or Red River, those bands, and I remember going there and seeing. I mean, I went to a Crash Poet show as a Metro show. It's free before 7 p.m. or something like that, and I couldn't get in. There's 150 people still in line waiting to get in, because it was at capacity for a local show. Like 1,100 people. What? Are you kidding? Like nowadays, if a band sold out Metro, there would be every A&R dude in the they would be like, who? What? 1,100 tickets? Let's find them. Let's pick them up. Those numbers were just so unbelievable. I remember the first couple times Inept played Metro, and when we eventually got to headline, like those are still some of the best moments of my life. Like,
well, I believe it.
Those just like playing I think our headlining average at Metro was like 830. Like that is
solid,
and that's like a paid ticket too.
Yeah.
It's not and it was just so silly, like that we were able, like the bands back in the day were able, no pre-sale tickets, none of it. Like it was just flyers, and Metro would give you like a stack of like 200 physical tickets. You give them to your friends, and then they would use it was almost like a voucher type sense.
Right.
Like they would take the voucher at the door, and then you would pay the discounted price with that voucher. Or $5 before 8. After 8 o'clock, it's $10 or so, whatever it was. But I've been trying to do that actually. I do the low dough show, and I make it seem like low dough, like Homer Simpson, and just a $5 ticket, and I caught on. Those are pretty fun. But
I love that.
The scene is so different. I feel like the bands are better now. I don't even know if they're better in a sense, but the recording quality.
Couldn't agree with you more. I'm stunned by some of this. Again, things have been kind of leveled off.
Yep.
Where everyone has access to the same software, and
it's not a bad thing though. It's because there's been like Inept, like when we first started, like one of our biggest downfalls was, in the beginning, we were in like previous demos, we couldn't get anywhere. Like I remember it took us like 3 demos to send you. I sent you a song called Finding Reasons in 2005. So from 2003 to 2005, we released 2 different CDs, and we got no love because we just didn't have the record. Like we just didn't realize back in the day like how important the recording the demo was. We were one of those, if we can't do it live, then we shouldn't be doing it. And then now, I won't even play a song live anymore without going and recording it first.
It makes sense to me.
And I don't know. Like I said, I feel like the scene is just so different, and I always try to like all these like younger bands that I deal with and stuff like that. Like I try to like put the values of the old scene into them. Like constantly go support one another. Like
Yeah, be a community.
Bands supporting bands is the most important thing out there because it creates such a cross dynamic platform for their fans. Like if you see a band A and band B always supporting one another at the shows, their fans and their friends that come, they're going to be like more inclined to support that band as well.
Yeah, because they feel like it's a familial sort of
exactly
vibe.
Like the camaraderie and like the that vibe is, and I feel like all the bands in like the upper echelon of Chicago are like, they do that. Like they've always got it. Like, you know, you look at like Lucky Boys Confusion, you know, they always like they had songs from a scene.
Yeah,
back
they
in
figured
the day.
it out.
And
They figured it out.
You know what was really cool? Like Lucky Boys Confusion, I always made fun of them because those guys are my guys, so I'm allowed to do that. But I was always like, man, you're only booking younger bands so that you guys could stay relevant to new fan bases. Like, you know, I would just mess with them all the time.
And if that's
then
true,
they booked Inept. And, you know, and then I go and do the same thing in Inept. You know, we do our February Metro show every year where we find like all new bands that we've never played with before, because it made sense for a while because you take a band you've never played with that way, and then you bring them into this fold. All the bands work together. They cross market one another, and you don't have to deal with. You can maximize draw and fan base because you're not dealing with a band that's conflicting in any way.
Exactly right.
You know, like Stubby is a genius when it came to the local show marketing. I hate him so much, but he's a genius.
I adore you, Stubby, if you're listening. When did El Famous start?
El Famous started in 2013.
Okay. And that's still rocking and going strong?
I slowed down with El Famous a lot. The last record we released, I wrote it kind of like...
It was just like last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I wrote the album in a pretty weird position in life. My dad died. I just found out that I was going to have a kid. So, like, I was just a wreck.
I'm sure.
With El Famous for a little while. And as much as I love that band and love those people... I kind of distanced myself from the band for a little while. Like, we still play shows here and there. It's not like... We're going to release a new single soon, but it's just like... Whenever I think of that band, it's really weird, but like there's like a stigma to it almost. Like there's an attachment emotionally to it for me, and I can't not feel that with the band. Like, I just... The loss and like the overwhelming like feelings that came with... I wrote the whole album about it, and it was very, very difficult to get everything off my chest. And then now, like, when we're playing the songs live, I'm just like, it's so vulnerable and so like out there that like I kind of almost resent it.
Do the other guys in the band get it?
No. No.
Okay.
They just want to play cool shows and stuff. And I understand, but the problem with El Famous is... What most people don't know about El Famous is that I am the sole writer of the band. Like, all the instruments I write. I play all the guitars in the studio. I sing everything. Well, we have another guy that sings like harmonies and like higher vocals and stuff like that. I can't hit as well, but like all the lyrics, all the melodies, every piece of every song I've 100% wrote, like just me. And then I like bring it to the band after it's done and polished off and stuff like that. So as much as they do like being a part of El Famous is me.
Yeah.
You know, so it's... And they all have other bands too, so, you know, it's not like I'm keeping them from their passions. Like, they all have very, very established good... Like, everybody in my band, with the exception of my drummer, who is awesome. I love him. He's great. He's fantastic. But he works a lot. But everybody else has another thing, like another band, another gig, like a main gig. Like... El Famous might be my main band, but it's nobody else's main band.
Got it.
Everybody else has, like, it's their, like, part-time fun band.
It's a side hustle.
It's like poker night, you know, so we all get together every once in a while and make mistakes.
So what you're saying about your headspace for El Famous, I mean, this makes sense, or Cold Mourning makes sense coming off of that.
Yeah.
Like, hearing you explain that really makes the evolution to the Cold Mourning way more clear to me.
Yeah, the Cold Mourning stuff is El Famous. The first record was me just being angsty, which was weird for a guy in his 30s. But you know, I've never written lyrics before. I never sang, so I just kind of like threw it all out there. The second El Famous record was definitely more of like a venting, getting some stuff off my chest and getting like really personal, deep stuff out there. A lot of the El Famous branding was I used the Rorschach stuff, like for the first record and the last one, and I like all that like mental, like, you know, awareness and mental health stuff. So there's a lot of references to that in the music. The Cold Mourning is me just writing songs that are they just feel good. Like the songs, like they might have like darker themes to it and stuff like that, but even there's like more optimism in the Cold Mourning and stuff like that, and it's just, I don't know, I love it. I love singing with the acoustic guitar. I never thought I did. I just started doing it, and like I said, in December or January.
That's amazing. Well, it's funny. Before we started recording this part of the podcast, I said, well, you know, the hard work's already done. Now we just get to eat and talk. You're like, but wait, I love singing.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like I could sing more. Like,
yeah,
you're just in the right frame of mind. This is, you love making this music. I
Yeah.
love. It's kind of inspiring to hear you talk about it.
It was different because, like I said, like the last El Famous record came with such a weird, like almost like a backhand to me. Like I just didn't love it. Like I knew what I was doing, and I listened to the record, and I'm happy with it. But like being in that band for a while, and this sucks to say, but it kind of like killed music for me.
I get it.
It was really weird. Like it shouldn't have happened though, because like, you know, we're playing cool shows, we're selling out shows, but just like, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't. I fell out of love with music for a while, and me doing this acoustic stuff completely rejuvenated that, like 100%. Like I have so much fun. Like we just played a show at B Kitchen 2 weeks ago, and we played last, and it was so amazing. We only played like for a half hour or whatever, but it was such a blast. Like I haven't had that much fun on stage since like the Metro days with Inept, you know.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you for finding what you needed to do as an artist.
Yeah, I just, like I said, it's really, I don't know, I encourage everybody to step outside of their comfort zone and do something that they didn't think was possible, because I never knew I could sing at all, you know.
You have a powerful voice.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know where it came from.
That's amazing.
You know, so it's so strange. I sing to my son all the time, actually. Surprisingly, that's kind of where it came from. You know, I would grab an acoustic guitar and I would sing him little songs and little Depeche Mode songs and little acoustic versions of little stuff, and
I love it.
And that's kind of where that's probably the main reason why.
You weren't singing Master and Servant, though, right?
No,
okay.
no.
Weird.
He likes that one though.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, he loves Depeche Mode. It's crazy. I wanted to bring him to it last week. They played at the United Center.
Yeah.
He's too young, so maybe next time.
Well, let's jump ahead. Let's jump out of your music to Bottom Lounge.
Yeah.
Going back to the idea of, I'm in a local band. I'm looking to get in at Bottom Lounge. What are you looking for? I mean, and you book a diverse type of. I mean, there's metal one night, or a band like Sloan, you know, Canadian like super indie power pop at the end of the month. I mean, you're all over the place. So,
the calendar is really diverse here, and that's one of the things that I really love about the place. Is like, you know, tonight we have metal, tomorrow we have like Jamaican reggae, like Burna Boy, and you know. And then next week we got some dudes from Humphreys McGee that are playing, and then we have Sloan, and you know,
I love Sloan.
Oh, it's gonna be great! I can't wait.
People of the Sky off Twice Removed, one of my favorite songs of the '90s.
They're last time they were here, they were fantastic too. And you know what? Their shows get like the attendance grows like every time they come through. It's really cool. So, but like I think the diversity definitely is what helps. You know, you don't want to be pigeonholed as just a metal club or like a hip hop club, or you know. So I would just say that the things I look for in bands are demo. I want to be able to hear music. Past show history helps. We are a 700 capacity venue. We do have a curtain that we put right down the middle that definitely cuts the capacity. So we can accommodate smaller shows. Like, you know, I think that with the curtain closed, I think 100 people looks pretty good in the room.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's just, what I look for is just bands to be able to, if you can bring 30 people to a show, like, you know, give you a Friday or Saturday night, you know, whether it's all ages or 17 plus, just bands that work hard. You know,
I
even
think
if you can't draw anybody, just try, work hard.
Have the hustle.
Have the hustle.
All right. So again, the Cold Mourning.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Bandcamp page. You're on Facebook. You're easy to find. You've got that video you did, which is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And more live gigs coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna do some stuff in either August or September. We've been talking to some other acoustic acts, other acoustic dudes that I've known for a long time, trying to get something going with Mark Rose from Spitalfield and Mark Rose, because his solo music's incredible. But yeah, I don't know. We'll play any show. So if anybody's in a band that wants us to play, just hit me up. We'll play. We'll come play. I'll come play. It's just, I'll bring a couple of my harmony guys, or I'll just come do it myself, so it's whatever. Just let me know. I'll play your house. I'll play your kitchen. I don't care.
That's awesome. Well, good to know. Do you mind dogs? I have a dog.
Yeah, I love dogs.
Okay, then you should totally play my kitchen. Yeah. All right, Kevin, thank you so much for hanging out. The food at Bottom Lounge kicked ass. You kicked ass on guitar. And just, wow, what a fascinating career in rock. What good work you do here at Bottom Lounge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being part of this.
Oh, can I just real quick, can I give a shout out? Just email me if you're in a band. Email me, kevin@bottomlounge.com. Send me a demo, send me whatever. And yeah, I'd like to work with all of you. So,
well said. All right, thanks, dude.
Thank you.
This podcast brought to you by Boost Mobile. If you like the podcast, if you find it somewhat interesting, please tell a friend, carconcarney.com.